Good morning, church. If you don't know me, my name is Brandon, and I have the absolute pleasure of helping lead our worship and media arts department here at Real Life Church. Today, I get the opportunity to bring a little bit of the word to you, and I pray that it finds you in a moment of hunger and that you will leave this moment hungry even more. And what I mean by that is that it finds you in a moment of hunger from whatever you have chosen to fast during this time, and that after hearing the word of the Lord, that you will leave even more hungry for more of him, hungry for knowledge and wisdom, as well as his presence. So let's dig into a staple Bible story and pray for fresh insight into how it can be applied to our lives today. Let's talk about David and Goliath. We're going to look specifically at 1 Samuel 17:47, where it says, "And that this entire assembly may know that the Lord does not save with the sword or with the spear, for the battle is the Lord's, and he will hand you over to us." Now, you see, when David spoke these words, he was not only speaking to Goliath and the Philistines, but he also was addressing the Israelites. They were terrified in the face of Goliath's challenge, and they needed a hero. Now, David arrived at the army encampment with supplies and food for his brothers who were in the military forces, and he overheard Goliath mocking God's people and making threats. David took up the challenge of this Philistine with courage and boldness that came from the Spirit of God. David's faith in God was incredible. He had spent years alone and isolated in the wilderness tending sheep. And this proved to be an intense training period for him. He learned to trust God beyond all others. David's encounter with Goliath was not the first confrontation that he had with danger. See, as a shepherd in the desert, he experienced two separate incidences where he had to risk his own life to protect the sheep in his care. Once a lion attacked a sheep, and the other time it was a bear. In both instances, God protected those sheep by using David, just as he would use him years later against the Philistines, against Goliath, and then again as king of Israel and a warrior for the people of his kingdom. See, David's words were not hollow, nor were they empty threats. They came from a place of solid trust and confidence in the Lord. They were faith-filled. See, this verse is prophetic. Exactly what David said came to pass, and the Philistines were indeed delivered into the hands of the Israelites. Not many Christians would have stood as David did against those who challenged God. At any time, he could have put down his weapon, which was just a slingshot and 5 stones, and returned to his flock of sheep. He could have said, "Not my fight." But to David, the enemy of God was his enemy. His heart was God's heart. It wasn't about whether he could bring down the Philistine. It was about trusting God to do it through him. Now, another interesting tidbit of information is why 5 smooth stones? Did he take more in case he missed? Maybe. However, there is no indication in the words that he spoke that David experienced any form of doubt or fear. Or is it more likely that he just wanted to be prepared in case it took more than one to kill Goliath, or that he would need more stones in case after the Philistines started to charge and attack? Maybe. Likely. However, God does like foreshadowing, doesn't he? We learn later in the Bible, in 2 Samuel 21:15 through 22, that Goliath had 4 brothers that David and his servants would later go on to defeat. How cool is that? I love all the foreshadowing that is found in the Word. So I choose to hope that this is the reason for the 5 stones, Goliath and his 4 brothers. The point to remember in this verse is that the battle is the Lord's. Regardless of what he does to get the victory, it is always he who gets the victory. This is true today. God promises to shield us under his wings. He promises to walk through the dark times with us and to strengthen us in times of trial. In every battle we go through, it is the Lord who must be at the head of the battle so that he takes the full force of the opposing hits. Otherwise, we'd be wiped out and defeated. So what is your giant today, tomorrow, next year? Is God preparing you now in the desert for something huge? Are you letting every little battle won build your confidence for future bigger battles? Let your faith be built up through every experience and stand strong and full of courage when your giant stands before you. So as a worship leader, I'd be remiss to not leave you with a song. So in the description, there is a link to go and check out Same God by Elevation Worship to sit and worship with. I pray that it helps build your faith and confidence to stand strong with your Savior. Go and be blessed.